Hello, hello, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Anthony.
And we are AV Adventures.
And we are here to talk to you today about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Woo-hoo!
Now, I know that I'm wearing the wrong shirt for that fandom. I don't have a Star Wars shirt. If anyone knows what this is, put it in the comments and we'll be best friends from now on. But anyway, let's get to it. If you've been living under a rock, Galaxy's Edge is Disneyland and Disney World's new Star Wars themed land. It opened in May in Disneyland and it opened in August in Disney World.
Right after my birthday.
So both are open. We have been to the Disneyland version, and so we wanted to talk about that today.
Yep, so a lot of people wonder if there's an extra price because it's such a big land and such a new thing that they've done. They've wondered if there's an extra price for actually entering the land or even just riding the rides. And in all honesty, there is no extra price. It comes with the park admission, and you can go anywhere in the land. You can do any of the rides in there. So there are a couple extra added things, but to be able to ride the rides and actually get in, there's no extra charge except for your park.
Yeah. So the merchandise is what people have talked about being a large cost. You may have heard the legends of the $25,000 droids. Those do exist, and they're very lifelike, very realistic, very true to the movies. Remote controlled, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they're really cool. But you don't have to pay $25,000 to have a cool experience. There is a $100 experience for a build your own droid, a $200 build your own lightsaber, which I've heard both of them are phenomenal.
Yeah,
really
they're
cool
both really cool. And like you can look up videos for the lightsaber one, but like they take you into like a private room with a few other people, and you get to build it, and there's this whole like reveal
there's
of your
a
lightsaber.
Story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's cool. They give you a really great experience. They don't just hand you your lightsaber and there you go.
Now both of those do require reservations, so make sure you check that out. I believe it's 180 days in advance that you can set those, just like with dining. But yeah, so don't have to spend a ton of money to have a great time.
No, not at all. Okay, so the next part that we want to talk about is just kind of break down like the wait times at Galaxy's Edge. There's been a lot of different opinions and thoughts out there that a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, it's overly crowded and you can't do anything, and then there are other people that are saying it's absolutely empty. And so we wanted to be able to share with you a little bit of what we've seen. Now, we went after the fireworks show in Disneyland after it opened, so it was late at night, close to park closing. There weren't a lot of people, and we got to ride Smuggler's Run. I think it was like a 30-minute wait time.
Yeah, it was like 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah, not bad at all.
So super short compared to what we had heard, and there weren't a lot of people in there. So we had a really great experience. There wasn't a long line, anything like that. And we've heard that there have been a lot of higher wait times, and we'll break that down a little bit. But what's been going around in the news is that it's at a remarkable low, and there's like nobody in the park and all of that. And so we wanted to kind of share with that a little bit, and it is a little bit lower than you would expect. So we're giving it that. But go ahead.
So we, every now and then, because we're such Disney nerds, we check the wait times on the app a lot. And what we've been seeing, like we checked today just to make sure that our numbers were up to date. So just as a comparison, Smuggler's Run currently has a 70 to 90 minute wait time, as we've checked different times throughout today, and today that we're recording is a Saturday, so not necessarily a light time for Disney World in general. As a comparison, Flight of Passage, over 2 years after its opening, still has a 155 minute wait time, so 2.5 hours. So I, being a math guy, wanted to check and make sure that the loads were, that we were doing this objectively. So I looked up the load capacity per hour that each ride could push through. Even taking that into account, Flight of Passage has 35 to 65% more people in line today than Smuggler's Run. So incredible that, Smuggler's Run opened this year, Flight of Passage opened over 2 years ago, and still the one is much more popular.
Yeah, way more popular. And yeah, like he was saying, Smuggler's Run can push a lot more people through faster, so you would think that they would have a smaller wait time, but at the same time,
even if you crunch the numbers, you got more people.
It's a lot of people going.
So the numbers speak for themselves. It is pretty light. So yes, the low crowds are real. We have numbers to support it, and we think there are a few things that attribute to that.
Yeah, one of the big ones is Disney didn't necessarily do a lot of marketing to be able to get it out there that they were doing this new land. And even on launch day in Disney World, it wasn't that big of a thing. Like it wasn't really that big of a deal. They didn't have a lot of people out there. They didn't have a lot of press. So they kind of, even as much as I love Bob Iger, like even he said that they didn't really need to market this. And yet they're seeing a lot of people who aren't really coming to the park, who aren't really coming to the land.
Right.
So anyway, regardless of their own decisions and everything, like we don't need to say whether it was right or wrong. It's just they didn't do a lot of marketing.
Another thing is that a lot of people were disappointed that it focused on the new trilogy. The Millennium Falcon being a part of the land, which it's awesome, by the way, was kind of, I think it got people excited for the idea of an original
they thought
trilogy.
That they were going to see
land.
Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker, and Leia.
It's Rey and
which they're
the
okay
new
characters, but it's not.
But it's not the original. It's not what it's not what the diehard original trilogy fans are looking
like
for.
It's these people that are paying for the park tickets.
Yeah, the kids aren't paying for the tickets. The adults who watched it in the 70s are the ones who are paying for the tickets.
Yep. And then the last thing is that the main attraction that they're really marketing and pushing hard for didn't even open at launch day, if that makes sense. There's still another attraction coming. So Smuggler's Run is the one that they talked a lot about, but there is another one coming that's going to be like the end all. It's going to have new technology. They've talked about how it's going to have actually three ride vehicles within it. So you're going to move ride vehicles, and there's going to be transitions that happen in there. So it's going to be really, really impressive,
really
is
immersive.
what they're talking about. And it looks really amazing, and yet it wasn't there on launch day. So a lot of people are saying there's no rides in this land, there's nothing to do, and like there's one ride, but there's going to be two, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Right.
So all of that to say, don't make that judgment on whether this land is good until it's completed. It's not completed yet. So I think that that's something, and that's what's coming out tomorrow, is that new ride that people will be able to kind of get a good look at what's the whole of this land.
And so another thing we want to say is, take advantage of the low wait times. So don't look at it and say, nobody's there, so it must not be great. It is an awesome land. We really enjoyed walking through it. We love the immersive experience. Smuggler's Run was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It was great. So take advantage of those low wait times while they're there. We could see a spike as soon as Rise of the Resistance opens, and
even if it's a gradual spike over time of people saying, actually, this is really cool. So
so there is a new hope for Galaxy's Edge. Wait for the new ride. Take advantage of the low wait times while they last. You don't have to spend a ton of money to have a great time. There are, it's free to get in. It's free to ride the rides that are there. And we really liked it.
We were really impressed with it. Like the immersion of it is really, really cool. And there are a lot of shops. That's another thing that people say is like there's just a lot of shopping to do.
It's a money grab kind of thing.
It's so cool. Like,
but it's a really cool land.
You really feel like you're in Star Wars, So anywho, that's our thoughts on it. And again, with the new ride coming out tomorrow, I think it's going to be really, really cool to be able to see how people react to that, and what people's thoughts are on it, and if it changes anything for them. So
By the way, I've been looking for this shirt. So this Arabesh Coca-Cola symbol. I love Coca-Cola. I love Star Wars. I've seen people with this shirt, and I'd love to find it. So if anyone knows where to get this, let us know.
Help us out.
So I can have a Star Wars shirt and not have to cheat with another handle.
So
anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Like, subscribe.
Let us know if you find this. And we will see you on the flip-flop.
So long.